Hello and welcome everyone. I'm delighted to host today's webinar on building intelligent agents for BFSI with Microsoft Copilot Studio. On behalf of WalkingTree Technologies, thank you for joining us. We are about to explore how Agentic AI and the Copilot Studio platform are reshaping financial services from automating complex workflows to delivering intelligent customer interactions. Let's give everyone a moment to settle in and then we will dive right in. So, for those who are new to WalkingTree, a quick introduction. We are a digital transformation company that leverages open technologies and advanced Microsoft platforms. With more than 450 people across 21 countries and 11 global offices, we have delivered over 550 enterprise solutions in the last 16 plus years. Our 15-year mature Microsoft practice spans cloud, data, AI, and generative AI. We serve BFSI, healthcare, retail, and other industries by combining digital engineering with deep domain expertise. We want this session to be interactive, so here's a quick question. In the chat, tell us one BFSI workflow you would like to see an intelligent agent handle end to end. Is it compliance checks, procurement approvals, or investment research? We will revisit responses during the Q&A at the end. So, on this slide, you can see a snapshot of our core services and solutions. We focus on main three service areas. First, Microsoft Technology Consulting and Product Implementation. This includes ERP and CRM transformation, productivity and collaboration tools, AI-driven automation and cloud modernization, and much more. Second, bespoke data, AI and generative AI solutions, where we help organizations with advanced analytics, AI-assisted automation, unified dashboards, and operationalizing Gen AI for real business outcomes, among other things. And the third, AI-assisted digital engineering, covering platforms engineering, mobile and SaaS apps, modernization, DevOps, and immersive 3D solutions. On the right, you will see some of the solutions we have built and implemented. These include Smart Recruit for AI-driven hiring, Digit for urban governance, Grid for robotics intelligence, as well as compliant and risk management platforms, insurance solutions, and more. Finally, we also provide flexible engagement models like extended teams, staff augmentation, offshore development centers, and global capability centers to meet different client needs. So now, let me introduce our expert speakers for today. Scott Seabolt, Chief Technology Officer of WalkingTree Technologies, with over 30 years in engineering enterprise systems. Scott has led work across product ideation, design, development, testing, and operations. He will share insights into the technical foundations and real-world applications of Agentic AI in BFSI. Abhilasha Sinha, Senior Solutions Architect, with more than 20 years of experience designing and building complex enterprise applications. Abhilasha has also authored and spoken widely on applying large language models to diverse enterprise use cases. She has spearheaded several impactful projects in this space. They will guide us through the technical foundations and real-world applications of Agentic AI in BFSI. In today's session, we will define what makes an AI agent autonomous, context-aware, and goal-driven. We will cover best practices for structuring multi-agent systems, the low-code foundations of Copilot Studio and Power Platform, and how to extend Copilot for Dynamic 365 with governance and compliance. We will wrap with a real use case demos from investment, analyst ingesting broker notes, to procurement teams automating PO follow-ups, giving you a clear roadmap of applying agentic AI in BFSI. So that's the roadmap. To take us into the technical deep dive, I will hand it over to Scott. Please, Scott.
All right. Thank you very much for that intro. And, if you've been with us before, we've had several series on agentic AI. And what's a little bit different about today, as you'll see, is we're going to focus a lot more on the Microsoft suite of applications and platforms to be able to bring about our agentic AI. So between myself and Abhilasha, we'll kind of go through those steps and then provide a demo at the end as well. So you'll get to see it in action. So let's just take a quick step back, and I'll be quick about this, but what is agentic AI? So, basically at its heart, it's autonomous context-aware intelligence that plans, it reasons, it executes, it adapts to achieve a defined goal. And that's kind of the key when we start talking about agents, AI agents, is we want a goal, we want to have a defined set of scope or missions, objectives that we have assigned to that agent from the get-go. So kind of what does that look like, right? Again, autonomous and goal-driven. It operates independently with a defined mission or set of objectives. It's capable of planning. So it designs and it sequences actions to achieve certain desired outcomes, has reasoning ability. So in other words, it's able to evaluate information and it can make decisions based on that information, and then it adjusts the approach based on the logic and context that it's operating in. Executes multi-step tasks. So in other words, it handles complex workflows from start to finish or end to end without manual intervention. And then it interacts with tools and environments. So it integrates well with API, different systems, physical or digital environments. And it's going to perform a set of actions. So you've got these tools sitting out there, and it's able to interact with those and go call those tools to be able to perform some action, right? And those could be from a lot of different places. It adapts through feedback, and that's a key, right? So it learns from results, and then it's going to modify its strategy to improve its performance over time. So initially, a lot of times when these agents start out, right, it's not 100%, but over time, as it learns, then it gets closer and closer to that sweet spot, right? Closer to that 100% mark. It also is able to collaborate. Agents are also able to collaborate with other agents as well as humans. So it can work in coordination with the other agents automatically, or maybe it needs input from a human to perform some shared goal. So it's able to do both. So it's able to talk to other agents as well as get information from a human where needed. And then, a key thing here with all this agentic AI and any AI implementation is it's got to maintain context. So it needs to keep track of the conversation and the data that's related to it. And then, of course, things like task state and those things ensure, continuity from end to end and relevance to the task at hand, right? So next, let's talk about best practices quick. So, and again, these things aren't platform specific, right? It could be using, the open source tools, or it could be within this Microsoft ecosystem as well. The best practices for agentic AI still apply. So what do we look at here? First of all, when we talk to a client, or when we talk to a client about really using agentic AI in general, we always try to start out with what's the overall goal, and then we drill down into, okay, you have these different steps, these different things you want to do, or these different tasks that even you've got manual or people agents involved in doing now. Let's define those roles clearly and define those roles per agent. So an agent basically is going to take on a certain task or two, right? Not a huge amount, not the whole system, not the whole workflow, but it's going to take on some specific action. So when we define clear goals and clear roles, we ensure that each agent has a specific purpose and scope, and that way it avoids different collisions between the different agents and any overlaps. We're going to limit memory to local context. So in other words, agents should operate with the scope context to stay efficient and reduce complexity. So we don't want the agent doing a ton of complex tasks. Let it take care of the scope context that we've given it. And then we're going to implement robust communication protocols. So what that's going to do for us is going to enable those agents to coordinate and negotiate, and then really avoid any kind of workflow deadlocks. And then you're going to favor modularity, a composable architecture. So we build agents that act in sequence or parallel, or as feedback delegates, for example, or fallback delegates, as example. We're going to prioritize observability and resilience. So that includes logging, or maybe using different tools to, in the open space like a lane graph or something, so that we are able to look at exactly what's going on. So we want lots of good logging. We want error detection, failover pathways. So the goal here is to maintain trust and reliability in what the agents are doing. So we want to know what they're doing, know if something messes up or it's inefficient, and that way we'll be able to tell and quickly make correction on those kind of things. So we want to prioritize observability for sure. Engineer context, right? So engineer context, not just models. So we're going to design prompt templates. So that's very important, right? So when you've got a template for an agent, you want to have a prompt template, so it always kind of knows what it's doing, right? So it can always go back to that and say, okay, here's my template for what I'm doing. We're going to have variable placeholders, so we can just pop in variables where we needed, where it's needed, depending on what the solution is, and then just provide rich context, so it doesn't need to endlessly train, right? So we're going to make sure that it knows the context of what's going on. Start with independent agents before orchestrating. And I just went through a solution that I created where this was a big thing, right? When you try the overall big bang, let's go ahead and take care of it all at one time, it tends to make it difficult to figure out what went wrong. So when we start with an independent agent before we start orchestrating amongst agents, it tends to work out lots better, right? So go ahead and build and test standalone agents before you scale up to those multi-agent orchestrations. So make sure the individual agents are able to do what they're supposed to do well before we start putting it into the multi-agent orchestration. Adopt standards for future interoperability. So, we got to leverage emerging protocols to enable agent collaboration across different platforms. So in other words, we want to future-proof our solution. So those are kind of a list of some of the best practices and kind of what, Agentic AI, just to kind of refresh our minds a little bit. Or if we didn't know that, that gives you a little bit of an idea about what we're going to look at when we start talking about designing these multi-agent ecosystems. All right, and next, let's start the discussion now around the specifics in building agents with Microsoft. And within Microsoft, it's a fairly rich, I'll call it an ecosystem when we start looking at a development approach for these agents in that space. First of all, we got pre-built agents that are available. So there's pre-built, ready to use Microsoft as well as third-party agents that are accessible from the agent store. And these are best for things like personal productivity, or maybe small team assistance that individuals themselves can set up and share quickly. Then we've got kind of operating up the chain in terms of complexity. We've got Copilot Studio, which you'll see today. And that's really a guided interface within Microsoft 365 to design agents. So it supports also the Power Platform and Copilot connections, all those, plus I should say the ready-made templates for fast setup. So they've got all those out there ready to set up. And that's the beauty of being able to operate in this environment, right? There's things that are already there, easy. There's already connectors built. Everything's kind of in the same ecosystem. So it makes the speed at which we can design these agents much quicker. So, again, what is Copilot Studio really suitable for? It's suitable for departmental or enterprise bots like HR FAQ agents or IT help desk assistants, sales assistants, where simple data source integrations are there, right? So as we get more complex, though, then we move up into the Azure AI. And that's going to be where, you've got a full developer toolkit. So Azure AI Foundry, for example, Copilot SDKs and APIs. You can introduce Visual Studio in there, Azure OpenAI for custom models, and then the Power Automate, for complex flows as well. So all those things are kind of built into this space. And really all this is designed for the more advanced kind of mission critical solutions like integrating custom systems that have been built, or handling multi-step processes, or maybe again where we need to orchestrate multiple agents. So this Azure AI is a very robust system for supporting the more enterprise type applications and solutions. So Abhilasha, with that, I think we kind of had an introduction to, kind of either an introduction, or maybe we've kind of revisited Agentic AI a bit, talked about best practices and some of the things that are offered from a Microsoft standpoint. And I think now we're going to start to talk about the financial services aspect of this, right? So you get a little more focused on the financial services that have pre-built agents. So when we look at that, we've got this partner ecosystem, and there's lots of really cool pre-built things that are in there. So when we talk about a partner ecosystem, at the center of this is really Microsoft's ability to bring all these things together, right, and offer some things that are very robust in terms of the financial area. So and these partners, they bring best-in-class capabilities that align with cloud best practices, for example, and that's going to ensure that financial institutions don't just adapt cloud technology; they do so in a way that's secure, that's compliant, and it's highly effective. So when we start taking a look at those in detail, when we talk about compliance and transparency, regulatory compliance is critical for different financial services. And Microsoft Cloud bakes this into its foundation, and it offers compliance programs, control mappings, programmatic compliance tools to automate much of the heavy lifting in terms of compliance. And then again, transparency is a big differentiator here. You get full visibility into compliance tools, audit logs, you get transparency reports, and all those help institutions demonstrate regulatory accountability. And then as we look at the industry guidelines and accelerators, Microsoft doesn't just provide tech, it provides guidance and accelerators specific to the financial service industry as well. That includes things like case studies that are out there, pre-built industry apps, modernization guides, policy frameworks. And then, from my standpoint, I come from an technical architecture background. And one of the really cool things it does is it also provides the reference architectures and landing zones that ensure, deployments are going to be fast, secure, they're aligned with regulatory needs. So it gives you a really good start and a good foundation for ensuring that your architecture is solid and compliant. So in short, really, this gives financial services organizations really a head start on and not reinventing the wheel. Okay, so when we talk about data and AI platform, so let's talk a little bit specific about that. Data and AI are where the biggest productivity gains happen, right? So Microsoft provides, provides envisioning programs, and they provide reusable AI UX components so you can build quickly. Copilot and AI studios, those allow you to develop custom intelligent agents for those business needs. And then it provides strong governance and really premium data providers to ensure that the platform is both trustworthy and enterprise ready as well. So kind of wrap this one up. Microsoft's data platform and Fabric tie everything together. It gives institutions really a scalable foundation for advanced analytics. And, what are the key productivity integrations? So let's look at those quickly. First of all, we've got Outlook. Outlook connects directly in with ERP systems like Dynamics 365, Finance, or SAP. That means customer data insights, communication summaries, and even recommended action items show up right inside your inbox. The other one is Excel. Excel becomes a reconciliation powerhouse. It comparing structures, generating discrepancy reports, and suggesting fixes. For things like audit items. This is invaluable because it automates what would otherwise be hours of manual work. And then talking about Dynamic 365 Copilot. So within Dynamic CRM and ERP apps, Copilot helps with emails, meeting preparation, forecast, project planning, and then it also leverages business data to provide the next best action suggestions. That reduces decision fatigue and it improves the overall customer responsiveness. And then we'll wrap this up with saying this section up with saying Microsoft, talking about Microsoft 365 Copilot. So when we're talking about the 365 Copilot, it's embedded across Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams, all those items that a lot of us use every day, multiple times a day. So we spend a lot of times in these apps, and it really is embedded across all of those. So it can draft content, it can summarize meetings and emails, and it pulls contextual insights using Microsoft Graph. And importantly, it does this in a way that's compliant, secure, audible, which is perfect for regulated industries like financial services. So to close this out, I would say the takeaway here really is that Microsoft doesn't just offer infrastructure, it really delivers a complete infrastructure, that's designed for compliance, industry-specific acceleration, AI-powered productivity, and all that's tailored for the unique needs of financial services. So with that, Abhilasha, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Scott. So as you rightly mentioned, Microsoft has a rich ecosystem, and along with the partner ecosystem, which we see here, and the key productivity integration. So basically, these are some of the pre-built agents which are available and ready to use. Some of these are in preview, and some of these are actively being used by the customers. And they provide a very easy way to get started with the agentic chatbots and summarizers and any kind of simple automation flows, as we saw that. Now moving on, if we look at the further the entire ecosystem of Microsoft, and I'm sorry. Yeah. This is one of the diagrams which I got from the Microsoft website, but I wanted to include it here just to show the entire richness of the ecosystem to build agents. Now, this is not, this is beyond Copilot Studio, which we will see in detail next. But then the idea here is you can see that at the leftmost side, you have AI Foundry, which is a unified AI platform, which makes it easy to create agents just by, you can say there are reusable templates for the common use cases, and then you can create just by bringing your data, uploading it, and then you're ready to go. So for a simple use case, AI Foundry has all the building blocks to get started quickly. If you want to go with a more custom approach, then you have all the required tool set. So if you start with, on the top, you can see the tools where you can define the plugins, you can define the the different APIs using the Microsoft components. So you can define flows using Logic Apps or Azure Functions or even Power Automate flows. You can use AI services off the shelf, for say vision or speech to text, text to speech, any kind of document intelligence, interpreting documents, reading documents, OCR. So those things are provided off the shelf and can be used. Also code interpreter. So that becomes like the tool set for our agents. Then moving on, if you come down here, so the memory aspect, again, a very important aspect. And we either have a structured memory where we can use Cosmos DB and Postgres. We have like unstructured, or you can say if you have videos, audios, images, so you can use AI search on top of that data to provide higher search quality. Additionally, if you want to use vector database, which could be the case for any kind of these NLP applications, you would need. So in those cases, you can use like Postgres with PG vector, and uh, that becomes like something like a structured way of handling your data with the capability of vector search. So that covers the requirement for memory, and there you can have like simple save, the saving of the chat or the interaction history, to the saving of your knowledge base, which could go into your vector database. And additionally, you can also handle knowledge graphs if that is the need for your requirement. If you want to handle, say, a graph RAG, right? So that covers the different aspects of how you would handle a agentic memory. Now coming down, you have the reasoning engine where you would have the different models. So again, you could use the like OpenAI provided models through the Azure OpenAI ecosystem, or you could also use the like specific domain specific models, or say any custom models like a Llama or a Mistral hosted on Azure, right? And then to the left, like if you obviously if you're building a custom agentic experience, you would want to host and orchestrate your apps, and that's where the orchestration runtime helps. So you can have your microservices, your containerized and dockerized approach of deploying, and then if there's a need for any communication service, so you have your Azure communication service. So you can say that we are all covered here. And additionally, before I end here, so to take care of the quality attributes of your agentic behavior and the safety guardrails, so you have the other aspects here where you have prompt flow to handle evals and LLM ops. You have your Azure AD and Microsoft Intra ID to handle security and seamless integration with reliability and compliance. And then additionally, you have other aspects like your API management, gateways, your logic apps, reliable workflows. So you can bring some amount of like reliability and security, scalability, combining the usage of all these different tools provided by the Microsoft ecosystem. So this gives you the plethora of uh, tools which you can use to build a custom experience where you have like the total control of what and where you're using. But then if you would want to go with a Copilot Studio, on which we are going to focus today. So what is Copilot Studio to start with? And this provides Copilot Studio provides a very low-code environment to create, test, and publish AI agents. And it provides the capability to publish it into different channels. So definitely, like it cuts down the work of the range of work which you saw in the previous slide, right? It drastically cuts down and brings a lot of work is intrinsic and below the Copilot Studio layer, but still you have control on defining your flows, your logic, your data sources. So if you look at the key building blocks, so you have the topics which help you like define what are the different aspects or handled by your agent. Each topic you can define the flow with exact control of how like the different aspects or the steps to be covered. You can define agent flows, so you can make use of Power Automate flows where you can again have connectors connecting to different plugins. then you can have your knowledge source. So definitely, if there's an agent, it may need some reference, some extra context, some extra knowledge, and that could be again set up within. It could be an external website which you can provide. It could be something within your Microsoft ecosystem, like your SharePoint, OneDrive, Dataverse. So those things, files in those repositories can become your knowledge sources. And again, that becomes it becomes handled automatically by the Copilot Studio. You need not worry about how it's getting handled. Additionally, then if you want to have you want to give your agent extra tools so that it can it can decide and pick up which tools to use. So you can provide those connectors and plugins. Like for example, if you need to say refer to some external sources, you need to call some APIs, or we'll see some examples where you want to connect to like a ERP database and get some information. So those can become your tools, and by providing like natural language description of what the tool is doing is enough for the agent to pick the tool and use it. So that intelligence comes from the generative orchestration, wherein the agent uses natural language intuitively and decides which route it should pick up, whether it is a topic flow which the user is talking about and it needs to pick up that, or whether the answer to the question the user is posing can be directly achieved from a tool which is available to its disposal. Additionally, you can have this talking to other agents, or it could refer to the knowledge bases which are provided as part of the setup of the Copilot agent. Additionally, you can also have computer use, so like any kind of accessing your desktop or your web. So those things can also be done using the Power Automate for desktop. Additionally, like when with all this, you have a capability to handle different releases, different environments, slowly like push changes, author separate canvases, what you want to expose to dev and maybe testing and production, apply the required guardrails. Additionally, like have any kind of integrations. So we will see a small use case on the Dynamics 365 FNO integration, but then, yeah, there is no limit. You can integrate to any API. It could be through, so the standard authentication mechanisms, it could be the Microsoft provided authentication, or it could be an OAuth, which can be used for the authentication. So with these aspects, the other important thing which I would briefly touch upon is the Power Platform, because this gets involved when you're defining a Copilot agent using Copilot Studio. Power Platform plays an important role there because it gives you the flexibility to talk to the different elements, define connectors. So Power Platform is a family of services which enable you to build apps, automation, even sites, analytics, AI, and all this is within the governed infrastructure of Microsoft. So as part of this ecosystem, you have Power Apps, which is more for defining your apps. We will not be using that in much detail, but then Power Automate is where you can actually define your flows and you can invoke those flows from your agent. So that becomes an interesting, you can say, plugin. And then Power BI for your Power Pages and any kind of analytics need. And more importantly, all this talking to Dataverse, which becomes like the common data layer. And that is what will help us talk to any other like in internal systems. So Dataverse becomes the bridge. And there are connectors already available in the Microsoft ecosystem which allow you for the seamless integration, or you can build custom plugins and integrators to talk to your data. Additionally, like since all this is your Microsoft platform, so you you can be like rest assured on your security. So you have your Power Platform admin center where you can manage your different environments, tenants, your data loss policies, securities, all those aspects. You can define pipelines to ensure your seamless CI/CD across your different environments. For governance, additionally, so DLP is like data loss policies, which ensure like the connector which you're setting up has access to the right data. There are no like you would avoid any you can say harmful connectors or any personal connectors which could cause any kind of data breach. So those are some additional governance policies, or you can say infrastructure which is available at your disposal, and you can use it as part of this like entire setup of your Copilot. Additionally, you have your COE starter kit, which provides your guardrails, your additional inventory and adoption insights required for the governance. Now, with the combination of this Copilot Studio and Power Platform, quickly what you can do is you have your structured app data and Dataverse, which is secure. You have your environment security and data loss policy as part of your Power Platform. And then your Copilot Studio is where you expose it, you reference this data and make it available to your user. So that's how the whole connection flows through. Similarly, using Power Automate, you can define those flows, which again talk to your either your Dataverse, it could talk to your computer, and then like send the data back to your Copilot, which again relays it back to your user. Similarly, you can have your apps through Power Apps and Power Pages. That becomes like a more governed experience, while Copilot will handle the conversational part of it. Additionally, a Power BI for your like analytics and general life cycle through your Power Platform pipelines, which we already saw. So additionally, like these four things together give you like a powerful base to get started with any kind of like automation flows as part of your like operational workflows, and bring in that efficiency which these autonomous workflows can bring in your day-to-day work. So like just to give you a visual representation of how these things are working. So you have your topics, you have your agents as part of your Copilot, and then the topics could refer to your knowledge. So like the knowledge would comprise of the different sources of information which is being made available to your agent. Then you have your tools. Again, these could be like connectors. So you could have like connectors to your Dataverse. You could have connectors to your mail, or you could have connectors to your desktop. And yeah, so that comes under computer use. And then you could have just simple prompts to make a call to the LLM. So even that can be done. You could have flows which could be like defined in Power, like agentic flows, which could internally again talk to your different agents. Or again, we also have the MCP connectors here. So there are some MCP default connectors provided by Microsoft, and you can also build custom connectors to your APIs or to like different systems. Like we did one for say Superbase or MongoDB. So the standard system MCPs also can be used, and you can like seamlessly integrate and use your agent to talk to these systems through these tools. And then again, I mean, since we are talking about a multi-agent ecosystem, so these agents can again talk to other agents and then build like a complex, holistic like workflow where different agents are doing different tasks, and then that builds in like the complete flow. Now, before we move on to the like how we go about doing it, one additional like view of Copilot for Dynamics 365, because Dynamics 365, as you know, like it's an ERP and it has like different modules, and FNO is one of the modules which deals with the finance and operations. So that is one case, but again, since this is within the Microsoft ecosystem, this is slightly different from if you replace it with a different ERP. But in those cases also, you can have a bridge and a tool which connects to those ERPs. But in this case, the integration or the flow is you would expose your copilots. So you would define your agent in your Copilot Studio. Your agent will have, by default, it will have its own like conversation history and data grounding. So these things are by default a part of your Copilot Studio inbuilt, and you don't need to do anything extra for this. But then what you would do is you would define your tools which would connect to your FNO app to get the information. So Dataverse here becomes the bridge layer, which would like mirror the like data from the FNO apps, so that it becomes available to your Copilot Studio, and then you can like play with that data and then make it in a way that you can present it back to the user. So depending on the use case, you can either talk through Dataverse, or you can have your X++ plugins which could directly talk to your data, FNO data, get the information, and then pass it back to your Copilot Studio. So this just shows that like if you are totally in your Microsoft ecosystem, so you can seamlessly talk to all your Dynamics 365 data, and either you talk to the data or you can define some autonomous workflows to ensure like some kind of reminders, some kind of checks you can automate, and ensure that any changes are monitored and you are taking the right decision. So this brings that extra, you can say, capability of tackling these enterprise workflows. Like we'll look at a few simple workflows today. Before that, before we move on to the demo and the videos, just a quick wrap up on like when we take Copilot to production, and definitely like this is faster than your traditional way of defining your agents, and then you have to take care of everything uh, with the setup as we saw there, right? Now with Copilot Studio, you have a flexibility. You can start small. You can simply test simple workflows in your Copilot Studio one at a time. You can prove value, ensure that it is actually giving you the ROI which is expected, and you can pick and choose really like valuable and effective workflows. Then you can additionally, so you start with a simple workflow of just connecting to mails and maybe just monitoring your daily tasks, daily mails, those kind of things, to take it to the next level of connecting to external systems, ERPs, or even Dynamics 365 being your internal ERP, or your like custom solutions, talking to those solutions and then trying to get the information moving. And then once you have all these different agents working, then maybe you can think of a enterprise-wide solution where you can have these different agent workflows talking to each other and being able to accomplish complex tasks. So with that roadmap to production, the other important aspect, and very important aspect, is taking care of how effectively you take your these agentic POCs to production by ensuring that you take care of these 5 important aspects, where environment is one important thing, because since it's very like easy to create your agents, it should be clearly categorized as different environments, so that you have proper rollouts when you're taking to production, and something which is really planned only goes to production. You have version control of your prompts, your connectors, because you could be making changes there. So you have to be like vigilant of all those things. Then coming to data and access, so again, you have proper policies to control what data is getting out of the system. And because you're connecting to different systems, what data is coming into the system also. Because if you're using some kind of connectors which can be putting your internal enterprise to risk, you have to be careful there that you ensure that there's no data loss and you have a proper enforced user permissions of who is getting access to what. And then additionally, since it's an agentic ecosystem, you have to take care of the safety policies, the test for any kind of leakage of, say, PIIs or any kind of controls, guardrails, like stopping any kind of prompt injections. So the responsible AI and safety has to be factored as you're taking your solution to production. Additionally, if you rightfully use the Microsoft ecosystem, it provides a lot of tools to ensure that you are ensuring an end-to-end security and compliance with the use of intra-IT groups, and then giving the proper role-level security, making use of the standard features of 365 compliance, plus what Microsoft Purview gives, and ensuring all this is compliant with the data residency and regulatory requirements of where you're hosting or where for your customer basically. And finally, with all this, you have to be monitoring it. So again, you have a very powerful toolkit to ensure that you're monitoring the usage, you're auditing, and you have some kind of say rollback mechanisms in case of there's any incident. So all those aspects you need to take care to ensure a smooth transition from your POC to your production. With this, we'll move on to the demo, and I have some recorded videos just to show you the automated flows. And yeah, with the respect to the time, so the two flavors of use cases which I have picked up for today. One is using AlphaTree. So if you have attended any of our older webinars, or if you're aware of WalkingTree, so AlphaTree is a investment analysis platform which enables the investment analyst to analyze different stocks and different artifacts related to the stocks. Now we have like a custom application which is totally providing you all those capabilities to monitor your portfolios and to monitor different stocks, to say upload documents related to the stocks and then intelligently extract insights from those documents. But then what problem statement we are trying to solve here? So these investment analysts, they do get a lot of mails through different different agencies which provide their insights, and it becomes difficult sometimes to go over all these mails. So what we have done is build like a automation flow which reads these mails automatically and then calls this custom API, so that all these attachments in the mails are extracted and processed, and then the briefs are extracted and presented in AlphaTree. In fact, we can further polish it to say extract very key insights and then summarize. So we are summarizing the documents, and the insights which we are extracting are with the help of the model itself. So that is one kind of automation wherein Copilot Studio is talking to a custom API through an authentication layer, and then invoking that flow and getting the insights. And secondly, we also integrated a Copilot Studio to the AlphaTree chatbot API, so that the questions, so you can expose AlphaTree API and the intelligence of AlphaTree to I'm sorry, the users through Copilot Studio as well. and they can use it through, say, Teams or Copilot ecosystem. So that is one flow which we have used. And the second flow is using the Microsoft Dynamics FNO. So here it is like both the things are within Microsoft only. The complexity here is the use case, or the persona is the procurement analyst, and the use case what we are trying to solve is to track late and late purchase orders and price change purchase orders and notify vendors. So we have this like both through Copilot Studio, you can ask for late purchase orders, and we also have an automated flow where automatic mails are sent to the vendor uh, with the list of purchase order where there has been a delay or there has been a price change. So these are some use cases we picked up from like the real business, some smaller ones, so that we could show you the like efficacy with which Copilot Studio can talk to these systems, be it custom systems or be it like ERP within FNO and within the Microsoft like premises, using custom plugins and be able to achieve these functionalities. So yeah, in the interest of time, I'll quickly jump onto the demo, or maybe let me just quickly walk you through this Copilot Studio, the toolkit. So here you have agents, and as you go to creation of an agent, you have, so as I spoke about the building blocks, right? So here you can see, in fact, let me go back to an existing agent. So I can just show you. So as you can see, like these are all protected agents because these are like agents provided by the system. So Copilot provides some standard agents also, and this is a custom agent which we have defined. So this specific agent is where like we have defined. So this is the procurement analyst, which I was mentioning earlier. So here we have defined two tools, which are like. So these tools are nothing but in the background. These are connecting to Power Automate flows. So like these actually connect to flows in Power Automate and internally. So this is a plugin which is defined using X++. So it directly like talks to the database and gets the data. So, and then additionally, like you can also define topics here. So in this case, we didn't define any topics. We have used tools only. So let me just show you this in action. So we'll start with the FNO procurement analyst. So this is the procurement analyst, which helps to get the late purchase orders and the purchase orders which which have any price changes. So you can see we are testing it here itself. And as it is trying to connect to, so it's using this connector you can see here. And this is the Dataverse connector, which is internally like talking to this plugin and getting the information. So you see that it has got the information here. Then next we are asking for like price changed purchase order for a specific vendor. And again, you see that it has picked up the other tool, which is again talking to the database. So this is the environment and it's getting the information. And then these like, you can also ask like on this data, you can ask other questions like give me the old and the old and new amount to see what has changed. So that part can also be done. And you can see the change here. in the order amount. Additionally, yes, these are some other examples here. I'll quickly move in. Now, additionally, we have also set up some flows where we send these kind of mails notifying the vendor that there has been a change in your purchase orders. So, yeah, that is what like brings in the automation in the entire flow. Now, again, this is a simple flow, but then this can be further enhanced to say integrate with like other multiple flows and multiple agents and achieve like a bigger functionality. Now we'll see the investment analyst automation. So I was talking about the mail. So here you can see that there are multiple mails which have the details for this APP stock. So we have this flow which is triggered whenever a new mail arrives, and then you can see this mail is like the flow is triggered here. It's getting the attachment, and then it is making an HTTP call. So this is a plugin which is connecting to a external API, which is the AlphaTree API, and then it is getting like it's so in the background the processing is happening and the data is getting added to AlphaTree, and like at the end we'll see like how the data is available on AlphaTree for these different attachments here or the different mails. So basically it's helping the analyst. They don't have to go through each and every mail and each and every document, but all these documents will land in their login in AlphaTree, where they can. So now we are going to AlphaTree, and we'll search for this specific stock APP, and we will be able to see these documents with the insights which has been extracted by the model. So these are the documents which we received through mail, and now you can see this document, and you can see the summary of the document, and then you can see some, so these questions are generated by AI, trying to extract the key points from the document. So that's the idea. We are trying to automate the flow here. So the analyst can directly go and look here, or we can also have like send a summarized mail directly to the analyst if we just want to skip this part also. So yeah, so that's the idea here. Yeah, moving on, the last flow which I'll quickly cover is the AlphaTree Copilot, which so this Copilot is actually connected to the AlphaTree. This is a stock answering tool which you can see in action, and this is nothing but this is calling the chatbot API for AlphaTree, which is getting the answer. So the answer is coming from the AlphaTree knowledge base. So that is another custom way of connecting. Also, so these are like different ways you can use and you can extend Copilot Studio here. So with this, I would take a pause and let's see if we have any questions.
Yeah, I think we had a few questions. A couple of them I answered, via text, but then there's some live ones too, Abhilasha. Let me just kind of read through those. How does Agentic AI with Microsoft Copilot Studio differ from traditional chatbots or RPA systems commonly used in BFSI?
Right. So, I mean, if you talk about traditional chatbots or RPA systems, so those are more like very specific flows based on which they are engineered. So with Agentic AI, definitely you're bringing the flavor of more flexibility on understanding the natural language. And with Microsoft Copilot Studio, you are taking it to the next level by making a lot of these things of handling, say, memory, flow, the context, the knowledge. So all that is coming like as part of the package, you can say. And many of the things you don't need to take care of it explicitly, which would be needed for a agentic AI application.
Okay. Next one is, what roadmap would you suggest for BFSI enterprises looking to start small and scale agentic AI adoption effectively?
Yeah, so this one I actually like partly covered in my last slide, where I said like we pick up a simple use case to start with. We test it, test one agent at a time, test your connectors, then slowly extend and like increase your complexity, identify the real valued agents, and then only like start building your workflows with multiple agents and then taking to production, so that you really know like what is really going to bring in the ROI, and then you just don't take anything and everything to production. So that's the key to start small and scale.
Okay, good. And the last one in the Q&A is, how can financial institutions ensure regulatory compliance and data security while deploying autonomous agents?
Yeah, so as part of this, I think if we take care of the Microsoft provided like capabilities to define your regulatory compliances, Microsoft has a rich ecosystem. So if you are using that, we are ensuring there is a proper connectivity, there is a proper role-based access. When you're defining stuff, you're taking care of the policies, you're taking care of the kind of connectors you're using. So that would ensure that you're building a secure ecosystem overall.
Yeah, and I think there's some fairly rich documentation out there that talks about a lot of those things too, from the built-in governance to data security. You've even got things like Microsoft Purview for classification and data loss prevention, that sort of thing. Lots of auditability, like you mentioned, access controls through like Entra ID, the old Azure AD, and then just the continuing to monitor the solution as well. There's some tools that are built into the Microsoft ecosystem for that, like Defender for Cloud or Sentinel, those type things as well. And then, there's lots of regulatory alignment within Microsoft as well. I think there's like over 400 compliance certifications within the ecosystem. So, but yeah, in summary, I completely agree with you. But there's some good, rich documentation out there as well on that. Last one, Abhilasha, is I think in chat, Michael had a question. Is Copilot Studio part of any E365 bundles, or is that product always an add-on?
Yeah, so it is a part of the bundle of Microsoft 365 Copilot, like with limited capabilities, and you can get a standalone subscription also. So both options are available. So if you go with the Microsoft 365 bundle, then you get some limited capabilities there. And yeah, you can check the Microsoft documentation.
Okay, cool. Okay, Ken. Yeah, and if you have any other questions around that, Michael, just shoot us an email or something, and we'll be happy to get whatever information you need. Okay, I think that's all the questions. I think we can probably wrap it up, guys. So.
Yeah, I guess that was it. Well, an amazing, insightful session from the speakers. A big thank you to our expert speakers, Scott and Abhilasha, for the deep insights and real-world perspective today. And of course, thank you to all of you who joined us. Your participation made this session truly valuable. Until next time, stay innovative, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.